tryna take it down, place for you just scoring minds, best of bar.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into January 16th, 2020, and this is the trade deal backdoor. What I mean by this is what happened today. We got the official signing of the Phase 1 trade deal. However, the market responded in a very weird way. A lot of people were surprised. I was even surprised even how we got the close. Even now coming in after hours, we're right back towards the top. So I want to talk about what exactly happened and what I mean by this trade deal backdoor. There is something in place that kind of spooked the markets. This is how I'm interpreting it, that we are going to keep our eye out for, but it's also pretty much the same thing we are going to be watching for day after day to see how the market digests this, and that is going to be the next most important thing. So I'm going to recap that. I want to go over the plays we made today. We only made one, but then I also have a play that I want to look at tomorrow, and then even another trade, the BYND trade that we've been playing this week, and when I'm going to be going to double dip on that play. So let's get right into it. Before we do that, you need to drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description and it is pinned in the comments. Some people even commented. They're like, I just found the live channel. It is literally the first link in the description, or come down to the comments, or it is youtube.com/thestockmarket/live. If you do that, the /live, it'll take you there. But we better see you there, baby. It is free 99. It costs nothing but positivity and respectfulness. So we even have the recording up today from what happened with Trump. We went over that whole thing, so I'm going to talk about that. That thing was funny. It was a very weird press conference for this Phase 1 deal, so there's that part. But don't forget the most important thing you need to do. Post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. If you got any plays, anything for earnings, if you are looking at any of these or any of the plays I post, if you like them, maybe you got a remix to it, post it below. Let's source that information. The code loves you, baby. I appreciate all of you too. Thank you for always keeping it positive and respectful. Today was a great day, but let us get right into it. So again, the trade deal was signed today. This was good, and now this is what I'm mentioning with the backdoor. The fact that a deal was signed now, this does hold some weight. The positive of this is a real deal between two countries. It has implications if one chooses to back out. You know, it's not something they could just walk away from or change their words as easily as we've seen in the past. It's not as if Trump now could just tweet something and it kind of destroys everything. Again, he probably can, but to the respect of how it works, there is an agreement in place. So this was good. Pretty much there's basic numbers. A lot of the deal was phased out in 2 years, saying, and this is what I was suspecting, that this is pretty much going to buy Trump about a year and a half, 2 years before the re-election. But this Phase 1 deal agrees on purchases from agriculture to even financial services. So that came out today, and a bunch of other industries, and they're spacing out how much they're going to purchase today and then next week. But now this is where the backdoor comes from. Again, the market sold off a little bit after the deal was signed, but we were overall up. Again, we're still at all-time highs, so it wasn't too big of a sell-off. Then it kind of bounced as expected, but then it really started to sell off, and then even then this close was just phenomenal. And then again, now where it's at after hours. But what caused this now, it was later in the day as the news was already getting digested. You had Lighthizer, or I believe Kudlow, one of them explained now the process of what's going on. And the first thing that was backdoors was saying that China has not reduced any of their tariffs on the United States. This is a huge key because, again, both sides, and even Trump said this, Trump said they're not going to reduce the tariffs that we have on China because this is the leverage they have coming into the Phase 2 deal. But China did the same thing. And how China did this, they're keeping the tariffs in place, but what they're doing is offering waivers to the United States companies. And I believe we're doing something similar, or again, I think we just overall reduced the tariffs. But this is saying now the tariffs are going to be in place, but pretty much it's going to be on an approval basis where China's like, okay, you guys could go, you could do it, no tariff, pretty much until something changes or one side doesn't like how the other side's negotiating or China doesn't like what we're doing. That is the first part. The second part that has to do, again, even with the whole nature of a deal, is that China has agreed not to raise tariffs on the United States. So even if the United States imposes tariffs in a enforcement dispute, that's what they said, China cannot retaliate with tariffs of its own, but they could back out of the deal now. So this is where I'm saying, in essence, we're still kind of at a negotiation stage, but this did get progress. Again, even after hours was leading to this run-up. Vice Premier Liu has been saying some positive stuff. Mnuchin said this is going to add about half a point to even a third of a point to the U.S. GDP. there's some good stuff. Again, people are saying this is showing progress in all this, but at the end of the day, if there's any sort of enforcement dispute, the U.S. has a remedy for it. But again, if China can't do a back and forth tit for tat type thing, all China has to do is quit the agreement, and then you are back to square one, or not even square one, because this is square one. So this is interesting, and I think some of the comments afterwards helped ease this, but this is going to be something that could spook the market a little bit. And even then, some people did take the tonnage from the China speech or the vice premier and even the letter written by Xi Jinping that was read at this ceremony. They took it as kind of negative, but again, I think it was just very cultural how they describe stuff with more kind of with a different choice of words versus kind of being more specific as the U.S. is. They were saying, we may do this, we may do that, whereas China's like, where the U.S. is like, yes, this is going to happen, we're going to do this. So that added some uncertainty, but again, as the full deal rolled out and we have that, and you could get those reports online, all of this stuff is accessible now here today, so we know fully what the contents of this phase 1 deal are. So now the next step is talking about phase 2, reducing all the tariffs for both parties, getting everything else. We got some stuff addressing in this deal, the forced technology transfer, but some people want to know more about the intellectual property and all that stuff. So that is pretty much what happened. So moving forward, we need to see how the market digests this, but at the same time now, you are getting your earnings and you're going to get this up and down in this flip-flop. But the key is how the market reacts. But all in all, the market still didn't make too big of a move. Even today, we're up, 1/3%. Even at the lowest when it was about to break, we're only down 0.001%. So it's nothing too crazy. But again, now people pointed this out. We're actually seeing the market kind of respond, but then it's doing those drops and pops, but it is moving at a different pace. So let's see how some of that news information we talked about yesterday comes in next week, and we'll see how the market takes this and if there's any updates. But I do still think the risk on the table is if anything happens with China, or if any of their breakdowns in talks or any bad optics in that situation. But that's pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. Right off the bat, I have the two plays I want to go over. One of them is going to be Beyond. One is going to be a new one. But the first play that we made today, I grabbed a January 24th, a next week AMD 53 call. So the thing I liked about this, again, it went down, but the fact is, picture what's been going on all throughout this last few weeks. Take a look at the market. AMD beat the market up. The market, it stayed the same when the market was coming up, and now they're going back and forth even with the market going up. The fact AMD is holding and playing with the market, but it's being very, very stable. And again, this is what led us to play this first breakout on AMD, if you guys remember that play. So I do kind of want to get more time, and I will probably grab some more of these tomorrow depending on the situation. But the key is this is very difficult for AMD to hold up like this, especially after making a 50% increase. If you go back through even last year, they were a lot more volatile. We got to pull this back even more. AMD isn't a company that really holds up like this, especially when it has these crazy rips. So the fact that it's up here is one thing. And again, too, now, I could be wrong. If we are still playing the upside and playing this melt up, I still think we're going to get some negativity in the markets end of January, early February. But when AMD is ready to fall, this is going to be a sharp fall. But also at the same time, if it is holding up and you're seeing people are still willing to pay this price for AMD, this could indicate something, especially if there's an overall push and everything kind of gets going. And again, that whole moving in packs thing with earnings. So keep an eye out for AMD. That's the first play I made. That's the first one I'm going to be really watching. But then my second play is going to be UNH. So we played that play. Remember yesterday we did the straddle, and both plays were down 50% at open. I think the calls were down 50%, and then the puts were down 75%. But by close, they pretty much came back to the exact same price we were at. And then at one point, we were up almost 100% on the call. So it didn't look like it worked. And again, this is one where some of these continuation plays, this UNH is giving us a signal here for earnings because some stuff is selling off. And again, the moves are happening so slow. It is a great opportunity to catch some frogs. Take a look right there. That's a beautiful one, right? That's a big frog. But I like UNH, and this is what I want to be looking out for. I have a few different plays. I do want to see how it's playing. And again, the logic I'm playing with this, it had good earnings. I'm waiting for the continuation, but this is that 300 level on UNH. It doesn't really break that too easy, so who knows how much time it'll take. But if it does break there, it is going to be crazy. But again, UNH is very, very weird when it comes to all-time highs. And we've seen it happen at multiple times, but usually it has crazy run-ups. So UNH, do not sleep on this because, again, overall, it's saying a $9 move. And if you remember watching the video yesterday, that was the expected move. So, again, I talk about how to find that in yesterday's video. Pay attention. Let's get in the game. But I like the UNHs. I will keep this play that we have. I might look for a weekly coming into tomorrow or Friday, depending on how UNH moves and how gambly YOLO demon I want to get. But in general, the two plays I like is either February or June. I like the June. There was a lot of call activity, but it's kind of expensive. You could get the 370s for 69 cents. That's a little expensive. Or you could do this debit spread right here for $60 with the $1,000 max gain. But the one I really like here, February 21st, I want anything from the 330 to the 350. I might just go right in the middle and get the $15 one, or if you want to, splurge a little bit, you could get the $30 one, don't break the bank. Yes, I'm a cheap bastard. I'm proud of it. Colt, baby. But I like those 330s. I like the 340s. I like the 350s. Again, I just like this for the fact of getting time and then UNH doing a crazy breakout where it's at this levels of highs. It's been holding up. They have the earnings out the way. Now all it has to do is respond to the market and then kind of get its own isolated continuation. I love it. That is my potential play. And again, this is just an idea. I'm letting you know, sharing my ideas. So please understand, option trading is extremely risky. You can't lose all time with your financial investment. Please consult financial advisor. Educational purpose only. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Colt loves you. So there is that. As far as everything else, there's a few other plays I want to be watching coming into tomorrow and the rest of this week. One is going to be Apple. Again, they actually ended up touching those lows they broke the lows of yesterday when Trump was talking that smack about them last night, but they actually ended up being one of the stronger companies today, which was very interesting. So was Microsoft, and I like them. The next thing, and this even relates to what we saw today, which made today just very, very weird. And again, we're waiting for how the market is interpreting all this trade deal. Hopefully, we still see this strength tomorrow coming into the morning, but BABA went down a lot, and so did Baidu. Remember, we played that there yesterday, but then there was a group of other companies. I think JD was in that category, but Pinduoduo, they actually held up, and this is what you need to be watching out for tomorrow and the rest of the week, especially when the market moves kind of big but slow in this sense, is finding these laggers and leaders and finding ones that are really holding up. And I'm going to show you some other ones that you could even see. Shopify was one of those, and we're still in those debit spreads that we have till next week, and those are up. But even then, watch Pinduoduo, watch Bank of America now. This is going to be an earnings continuation. I still like the JP Morgans. Those got killed today. Like we said, AMD and UNH. Now Shopify, and again, this is what I'm saying. Watch for the rotations and watch for certain stocks, because now you have certain companies actually holding up. So Shopify it's doing the dash. It keeps running. I like it. The play's up a little bit, but I'm still going to keep my eye on this, and this is the key with both debit spreads as well as even swing trading and getting time. This thing's been going up and up and up and up, but if you're getting really far out the money on the weeklies, you're pretty much losing every week despite this thing going up, so make sure you get time. But we still have like one more week and $50 from our strike price, so again, that's why we need the time. But watch them. Watch Citi. And again, now, Trump, we'll talk about this. I think I might even have to talk about this in another video, or again, we covered it on stream. But Trump gave a whole list of companies today. It was the funniest ceremony ever. He went for 38 minutes just giving straight shout-outs to everybody. But there was probably 10% of the S&P 500 CEOs or people related to the S&P 500 companies were in the audience. Trump had them on a first-name basis. He was shouting them out. But he said Citigroup, and that was the only company Vice Premier Lou clapped for. I thought that was funny, but why are they interested in that? Tim Foyle has entered the chat. But watch Citi and the banks again with all the earnings. Watch Boeing. He said something about them. They're coming down a little bit. They had a pretty rough close here. They bounced again a little bit after hours. You can see at that 330. But again, just like we're seeing, you saw when BYND did the breakout. You saw why I'm looking at UNH, even AMD. It's just reverse here at the bottom. So they could bounce, and it could be a mean bounce, or they could fall through. I kind of want to play a play on this either both ways, or I might just commit to one direction. But I'm still being hesitant because, again, it's just not moving and it's staying there. It's a weird game of musical chairs. Better to be late than wrong. But then watch JP Morgan again. I believe they were even mentioned in the Trump speech as well. Then lastly, Tesla. Oh, I forgot about my last play. I'm going to watch Tesla. Tomorrow's going to be interesting, being a Thursday now, and the fact that now it's had 2 days dropping this off. But I suspect, depending if tomorrow is a slow day and it's a pure cuckening, there is going to be mispricing on Tesla. So make sure you guys are there tomorrow and ask me about this, because there's a unique situation being created. In the last 100 days, this stock has almost or pretty much doubled. So you have to realize a $15 move today is only 3%, whereas literally a month ago, 2 months ago, that would have been a 5 to 8% move on the stock. So think about what that is going to do to the options chain and what they are pricing in. This is going to leave some mispricing opportunities. You just can't get caught buying all the hype or buying at the wrong time. So if you are stalking it and sniping, this could pay out big. So I'm going to be looking at that. And then lastly, this was that last play. Again, I wanted to go over BYND. I want to double dip on it. Depending on what happens tomorrow, I'm expecting that it's pretty much going to go down again tomorrow, maybe down a little bit and not go down too much, have a cuckening day where maybe it tests 100, stays at 100 or 97, then Friday will be around the same price. Then I think the gap up's going to happen Monday. So either tomorrow, but most likely Friday is the day we're going to double dip. The premiums are still high though, so keep that in mind. But we are still going to be able to find a good opportunity on that. Then finally to our last chart here, shout out all the Snapchat long terms, baby. They hit 1850. They came down today. Those are still up. Again, Snapchat is still at a tear, and it pretty much clipped a 52-week high today. Not only has it beat the 1-year high, but it's coming awfully close at that $20 mark to the 2-year high. You bring that back up here. Once we get here, you know, the big low was $19 on the IPO. It took a while to break down there. You have a lot of buyers and a lot of support there. So whatever happens from here could get very, very interesting, my friends. But we still like that. I'm not going to be, if anything, I might be selling some puts on a red day. If we get one, we're just going to be holding, but I have to wait till next month to put more money to get more shares. But if you haven't seen how you guys could utilize this, again, if you own some of the shares and haven't sold covered calls, those calls are going to be expensive. If you still want to buy some, you can sell some puts. Utilize those covered calls and covered put strategies. Then as well, AbbVie, they did good. And again, there's health conferences going on. So all of these companies have been making moves. I'm surprised AbbVie went up, and this is kind of crazy. This is what I was kind of hoping and banking on. You see the volume's been increasing overall, but they had the ex-dividends out the way, and the stock is going up 1%. This is going to be great. So again, even look at how AbbVie is. This could be a good one with the options. It's expensive. That's why I'm like, I might as well just get the shares. But there could be a breakout here. But watch in general with healthcare, because again, they're moving in packs. There's a lot of companies in the healthcare and biotech that are actually holding up and doing very, very well here. So watch those. And then finally, these are some of your big companies, and these ones are going to be good on Friday, I believe. But again, look at these were up 1% when the market, again, regardless, you know, they pretty much were up 1% all day, even when the market was down. HD held up. McDonald's held up. There is key companies that held the market up during all of this, you know, drops, and even tech was awful today. So keep this in mind and keep in mind this rotation. But I'm going to watch these. These are going to be some of the secondary plays. It just sucks because, again, being slow movers and then having this expensive premium, they're hard to hit, but that's why pushing them to the wall and letting that premium come down is going to be good. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list down there below. Make sure we see you there in the morning. And make sure your head's in the game, baby. It's earnings coming up. You got to control those balances. This is your time to refresh on those strategies. Understand everything from the criteria to the pricing in to the ghetto spreads to any spreads, even the iron condors. We got Netflix next week. There is a lot, baby. You are blessed. And the next thing, you got to get that head in the game. I already said that, but that means protect those thoughts. You better get some belief. Y'all got to be smart. Don't get too confident. Don't be underconfident. You better talk yourself into this, baby. I need you there every day in the morning, all day, baby. Let's be smart. Let's grow those long-term portfolios. And don't forget, baby, the code loves you. So let's go.